morning, good morning, good morning, YouTube viewers. Good morning, Facebook Nation. Good morning to everyone, all people, all colors, all races, all languages across the world. Good morning to everyone, and hopefully your day should be the most beautiful day. We can't continue to hope. So I want everyone to have the most beautiful day. Here it's weather is kind of like cloudy. I guess they're expecting rain, but every day is a beautiful day. Remember that. It's people. So I started, before we start, click like, subscribe on the playlist. There's so many different topics, and you'll see that they apply to what it is that we're going through in life, and just another way of looking at things and what we go through. So I did part 1 of why relationships fail. So this is part 2 of why relationships fail. And I have to go to this first because it's important and I want to share this. So part 1, we discussed what the word relationship means. Yet, like all night long, I was at rest with this topic. Not that I cannot provide a sound factual answers to this question. However, the answer that all of you would like to hear is something that I can't do, and I won't condone it, which it would be a lie. So, because this answer has to do with everyone, not just why people are single, not just why families are falling out, just why all this is going to be explained. So no matter a physical relationship, family, social, or professional, the reality is, and this is what you don't want to hear, will not last. Okay? Because the answer to this is in part 1 of the video. But before I answer this question, I want to read this quote, because this quote will make so much sense after this video is over. And if you're honest with yourself, you would come to terms with the reality of the world in which we all live. And the quote goes, "This world is divided. They are a primitive species, unevolved and at war with one another, too separate to be one." And that quote is from Steppenwolf. Okay? So, again, in part 1, if you're watching it, and this is why I put part 2 out right after, I put them out side by side. I had to, because you have to go into one and go to the other, but you'll find yourself going back to the most simplest one, which is the first part. So, how many of viewers out there, in part 1, looked at everything that was said in that little short video and said that's too simplistic, as if I'm speaking to a child? And we always hear that, as adults in relationships, when we're trying to, try to work things out or trying to make things better, we'll always hear one or the other, whether it be the man or the woman, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're talking to me like a child." Well, that's what that video seems like. That video is going to make sense. So, yeah, and you feel this way because of your status. You feel this way because, hey, I got this, I have the car, I have the house, I have money, I have this. And you'll find, whether man or woman, you'll find these things in common. So, you feel that you deserve a more intellectual explanation about why things are going the way they are. Somebody as simple as me can have the answer, because I don't have what you have. But this world isn't about money, and intelligence isn't about money either. Intelligence is about what's up here and what's up here, and how you relate to the laws of nature. Okay? And that's going to be important. So here's an explanation. Here's an intellectual explanation that you might benefit from, because this is the fact. This is the true reality. Okay? In the United States, and we're talking about the United States, we're not talking about anywhere else in the world. The average marriage span is 8 years before getting divorced. 8 years. Okay? And for 50% of all marriages end in divorce. So for a total of all the people in the United States that get married, 50% of them don't last. And for the other 50% that stay are unhappy. Wow. Hey, I'm married, but how many people out there, how many viewers out there are faking it? You're not happy. You work so much that you don't even spend time together. And those are the ones that have a little bit more money. And out of that 50% that are doing it, and what's left of the rest of them, they're cheating on one another. They have open relationships, something that you find and you're seeing more and more in this day and age, where people are married and they have open relationships. So none of this is love, people. This is what I call an agreeable commitment for services rendered. So let's go into the family. All right. Out of all the families here in the United States, 96% are dysfunctional. Okay? I guess we're all moving too fast. So, not taking enough time to know one another, not taking enough time to work out. So how do we work relationships? Okay? So out of those people who are not married, people who are just dating and getting to know one another, that's 3 years. The average, 3 years, and you're done. So these numbers, none of it even comes close to being. These are statistics. This is what's going on around you. Okay, and let's go with friends. The average best friend will last 10 years. So when we sit back and we believe that, things are going to get better, the numbers, the facts show that this is not true. And, this is why people are stressed out. And we're hiding behind, so much. But we don't want to deal with reality. And the reason is because statistics and facts don't lie. So really, are you smarter than time and patience? So many years of our life wasted attempting to manipulate time and patience when the laws of nature, and now looking back on what could have been, thinking this time will be different. So we manipulate, we speed up. We don't want to take time to put the bicycle together. We don't want to take time to put the kitchen set together. We want it now. We want it assembled. We want it now. And we're all paying the price because no one is happy. So again, we have to go back to that original quote that when you're divided, you can never become one. And this is the one thing that I speak on. And also, it explains why, including myself, men today would rather go through life alone. And that's where women are failing. They're saying, well, there's not a lot of good men. No, men are smarter. We're not gonna compete for something. We're not. Number one, we're not jumping over hoops. Number two, men today, is not to say that we don't want relationships. We do want relationships, but take away your looks. Show me who you are as a person. And on the women's side, where good women are concerned, it said, well, take away your money and show me who you are as a person. So we're willing to take that time, but the world is moving so fast, it's not allowing. It's almost a manipulative game where we have to run circles on someone and brainwash them in a form, and we don't even care about what their attributes are. And we're going to point that out too. So when it all boils down, we have to look at what a relationship is, the connection. So we'll let the connection stand as time to see what two people have in common. And now we're going to look at number two, which is the association, is to have the patience to see how adversity is handled in any given situation. And then we'll look at the condition, number three. The condition is to see if your world interests and goals are compatible. And now, lastly, let's look at related, how this is related. It's the question of will this last? And these things are even before, if you have children, before that person meets your children, before that person meets your friends, before you even get to know anyone. You have to get to know one another, because remember, what you're doing when you meet a person, that person represents the box. It represents the box that has to be assembled and put together. You can't just get a gift that is unassembled and say, hey world, look at this. And this is why relationships don't last. So however, like the bike and like the kitchen set, how can you fix anything that's already assembled? And that stands for the laws of nature. So if you want to really know why relationships fail, if you really want to, have relationships that are meaningful, then it's going to take time and patience. And you have to go back to that first video, because that first video tells you, and that first video is not guaranteeing that you have a relationship that will last forever. What that video is saying is that you will have a better chance in a relationship to survive more than 8 years, maybe 15 years, maybe 20 years. So it gives you a more longevity, and the more longevity you have for the relationship, the relationship is going on. And the biggest factor in all this is you're chasing, and we all are chasing this carrot, this imaginary carrot that we'll never truly have. So what we're, come into reality and know where we stand. So what I want to leave you with in the end is this world is divided. They are a primitive species, unevolved, and at war with one another, too separate to be one. And what I also want to say is to the women who are in relationships, one thing that I've noticed is that you're keeping multiple male friends. Multiple male friends. So that's not happiness, because if you are happy, you're only going to need the person that's in front of you. So if you have to have a safety net, you can smile all you want in public, but behind closed doors, when you're to yourself, you're unhappy. So you have to keep moving, you have to keep busy, and come to reality, people. Come to reality. So, take time. I am, and I hope that you all do the same, because, there's more and more people out there that's like me, that are willing to take time to get to know a person. Because at the end of the day, it's the person that you want. It's not everything that they have, and if it's anything that they have, then again, it goes back to an agreeable commitment for services rendered. And with that, everyone, have an awesome day. Have the most beautiful day, and look forward to more topics, because research is always there, and we're going to answer questions, and we're going to wake up together, because this video is not to blame anyone, because there's a machine behind this train of thought. And I always go into it, but that's a whole different subject. Right now we're dealing with why things fail and why things will not get better. So with that, everyone, have an awesome day. Have a beautiful day. Peace and blessings.